Princess Angelique Monét, and we're here outside MoMa on our way to Lysanders Song, a film about wildlife, elephants, tigers, and how they're almost near extinction. Many showed their support and appreciation for such a film.
Journey in Africa, and the future of the African elephant in the place where long ago childhood was born. Elephants and humans have long lived alongside each other.
This is Princess Angelique Monét, and we are here at this amazing screening at MoMa. Tell everyone your name and why you're here.
Oh, yeah. My name is Albert Maysles. I make documentary films, most well known for Grey Gardens and Give Me Shelter and so forth. And I'm a friend of Cyril, and I love the film. It's a beautiful film, utterly gorgeous, beautifully photographed, and with a very, very strong message that we would otherwise never have gotten. People are killing elephants, 30,000 a year. Can't go on. They'll be, in 10 years, they'll be extinguished. Well, I think anybody that sees it would be strongly moved and wishing to do something about it. But what can you do? And I don't know if the film was shown to people who are killing these animals, that might have some effect. I don't know. It's interesting that as a documentary filmmaker, I preach against narration. Well, the film is totally narrated, of course, because, at least not yet, elephants can't speak.
Exactly, and one of the things is that like you said, a lot of individuals don't understand what a beautiful statue, even the ivory piano, what that meant. So tell me about you being a documentary filmmaker and how you got started in the business.
Oh, well, I started out as a psychologist, and then I taught psychology at Boston University. All of this, when I was 28, I decided to go to Russia to do some filming. And I ended up making a film in mental hospitals in Russia. That was my first film. And I got the bug. And it's so wonderful to make a documentary because you know that it has the possibility of bringing people to the part of the real world that they never would otherwise see and experience the life of people that they otherwise would never experience. So there's no end to it, the subject matter, and the need for such films and the energy that it gives me to keep on making them.
Exactly, and documentaries is it's a lot of work to do that. And what is your advice for filmmakers and other individuals that want to get into the documentary film business?
Choose the right subject, especially if you have a personal interest in it. It's bound to have a certain energy that otherwise might not be there. And because you have the opportunity to film the real thing, just let it happen. And if you choose the right subject at the right time, things happen, and you'll have a good film.
Now, what was that like working on Grace Garden? I mean, that's an amazing piece. They made it a movie with HBO, and it's because of you that the buzz got out. Tell us more about that.
Well, I think it was very important that people like my brother and myself made the film because many a filmmaker would seize the opportunity with these eccentric women to sort of make victims of them. But quite the contrary, we loved these women and gave them all the empathy that they deserved. And so the message got through. People got to know a very, very interesting couple. And the two of them saw the film and adored it. In fact, the mother in her 80s, as she was dying a couple of years after the film, her daughter, also in the film, turned to her and asked her if there was something more she wanted to say. She said, "There's nothing more to say. It's all in the film." Tribute.
That's amazing. And seeing you in the movie as well, that your character was in the actual film on HBO, how did that make you feel?
I felt good that the message was carried that much further from somebody else's eyes. That was great.
So, what is the future for you? Are you working on anything new?
Oh, several films. One of them of children, age 6 or so, 2 at a time, just filming them in spontaneous conversation. Just the other day, I filmed 2 girls who were talking about their crushes. One of them turned to the other and said, "Have you been kissed?" And the other one said, "Well, I thought I was being kissed, but instead he spit in my ear." and then the first girl, in response to all that, said, "I'm waiting till I'm 14." You have to wait, and something else is bound to happen that even adds something to the scene.
Well, we're very honored, as you can tell, to have an interview with you tonight at this beautiful screening for Cyril and Marie and their beautiful son. And we hope everyone understands the message with elephants with this beautiful documentary. Give us one more quote as we close out.
Congratulations to the filmmakers. They've made a wonderful film, important. I hope it changes a lot of people's minds, and anyone that sees it will be very, very strongly moved by it, and in the best way.
You can hear the baby crying, and the elephant is still there. So they went slowly, trying to shout to the elephant other side. So the elephant moves very slowly, go away. So people come there. Mama all right, child was okay. So this elephant put like a fence, and stay for nearly 3 hours until the sunrise. So that's a true story about 3 years ago.
Well, we're back. How do you feel to be here tonight?
Very well. Wonderful flick, and being a friend of Cyril Marie's, I was very impressed with the whole film, and I'm excited that they've continued the message.
Now, is this your first time seeing the film?
Yes. Although we had them out at our farm in Sag Harbor and did a preview of what they're doing, we never saw the film till tonight.
Now, do you think everyone understands that elephants are about to become extinct within the next 10 to 15 years?
Good question. I'm not sure because it's not a new issue. I know as a kid, elephants have always been threatened, but I think now it's more and more real, and I think it's very important that they've carried this message on more presently, and it's very significant to me. I have 5 children, and it's a wonderful idea to carry on because we know there's no turning back once there's only elephants in museums or zoos.
Exactly. Now, I understand you have a farm in Sag Harbor. Why don't you tell everyone about this and what you do at your farm? That's amazing.
Well, it's really my brother's project, but yes, it's a CSA, community supported agriculture, farm to table, and Cyril and Marie have been supportive in that, along with 20, 30 other families for the co-op, and it's a wonderful organization. They continue to educate the children who all come out and they harvest the crop, and it's just a very nice local thing we do.
That's beautiful, and it's a pleasure to meet you here tonight. Yes. One last word. Give us 3 words to describe the film you saw tonight.
Poignant, articulate, and significant.
Well, this is Princess Angelique Monét, and we'll be right back.
Every year, tens of thousands of elephants are being slaughtered, and hundreds of tons of ivory are being confiscated in airports and seaports, both in Africa and in Asia. And while considerable efforts are being made to stop the poaching, elephants continue to perish at an alarming rate.
So, why don't you tell everyone your name and what you thought of tonight's screening?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Curtis. I'm a psychoanalyst here in New York City, And I think that the plight of the elephants is extremely important, and also how it relates to us as human beings, and how it relates to us psychologically. And in the midst of a very capitalist, consumer-oriented society, I think it's extremely important that we get back to nature and to our souls and to our relationships with everything living.
Can you explain it? A lot of individuals don't understand the elephants and the fact that tigers are almost extinct. They don't understand this at all. How could we say this to the masses for them to understand the picture and find out more information?
Well, I wish I knew the answer to that question, but we are all living beings. And if you watch children when they're young, they dance, and they do not know that they're not supposed to move to music. And if you relate to animals and other living creatures, you find out very quickly that they respond to us, especially elephants, horses, and dogs, in a way that sometimes human beings don't.
Well, I think you described this elegant. You described this in a way that I can relate to and others can relate to, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Without the elephants and the whales, without the lions and the tigers, without the wolves and the bears, we risk losing our humanity and ultimately our freedom. The ivory trade must cease. The slaughter of innocents must be stopped so that wonder can continue for all time, so that childhood can continue to marvel, so that the elephant herds can march far into the future as they have for countless millennia.
You had an amazing screening, an amazing turnout tonight. How do you feel?
It's a baby first step. The first time we show it in New York.
You're being very humble and modest. Why don't you tell everyone about your film?
It's about the future of life in Africa, especially the elephant, and we cannot lose the lion, which could all come within 15 years if the world doesn't wake up immediately. The Jouberts in Botswana are fighting for that. Many people on the elephantine front, but it's all in all will be considered more important than what happens in Afghanistan or Iraq, because this is an evolutionary crucifix moment.
Now, that all sounds great. But for those who don't understand what's going on, can you break it down to us within 3 sentences?
If we lose the elephant, there will be a large hole in the human soul for all time, and we simply will not be able to live viably on the earth any longer. It's that simple. We lost 600,000 in the 1980s. Now this is the second phase of a lot of the destruction, thanks mostly to the Chinese and the Oriental market. And there needs to be a worldwide outcry immediately, because it happened once in 1989 where there was less economic turmoil, perhaps, a lot of political stuff happening with the Berlin Wall, but the wall now and the massacre of the innocents has to stop. We will not be given a third chance. This is the second chance to stop it. It has to happen within the next few years. Somebody like Bill or Hillary have to say to the Chinese, this is on the world political agenda. It is for the kids of the future. So 7 billion humans are affected in terms of our place in the world, mythically, ecologically, and in terms of simply our place on this planet. We will not be given a third chance.
Now, for those who don't understand the numbers, because we're a channel, and for the masses, they don't understand what's going on right now. Where did this information come from? Is this an opinion or is this a fact about the elephants and how they're almost extinct and everything?
Not almost extinct, but there were over a million in the 1980s. I was there as a teenager in the 70s, and there was over a million, and probably 1.5 million. The reality is that for toothpicks and statuettes, they're being killed. Middlemen from Asia and then the Africans do a lot of the I guess the dirty work. How to stop it, I don't know, but it's a Scientific American article came out in summer of 2008, and I was totally stupefied, as if a bomb had blown up, that over 30,000, between 20 and 30,000 were being taken out every year, which is more than the reproduction rate of the elephant continent-wide. In Asia, it's not so much. That's more habitat and migration path and going over farms and towns. It's the ivory is much more desirable in Africa. But then we launched the Vanity Fair piece written by Alex Shumatov in July, which is one of the most important articles of all time. And that was followed by research, six weeks in the field by Alex Shumatov, and it's not a question of controversy. Why the American public, which is the second largest importer still doesn't know what's going on. They have other issues on the agenda, like how to feed themselves and how to hold on to their homes. But long term, this will be considered one of the biggest issues in the history of the world. The loss of the elephant and the lion. If we lose the lion, we're going to start. If we lose the lion, the tiger, the polar bear, 3,000, 20,000 polar bear, about 20,000 lions down from 250,000 20 years ago, we're only going to self-cannibalize. That's what's left. And then the wonder of the elephant. The word peel in Hebrew, which is elephant, is the root of the verb to wonder. And then all that's going to be left is to become partly machine ourselves. That's not a future we want.
What made you become a wildlife filmmaker? Is it your love for mankind?
We're not wildlife filmmakers as much as documentary people listening to some aspect of the larger truth, because the BBC and others will do it irrefutably better in many ways. We're just trying to bring some level of concern for poetry and life in general. But the reality is, without, as Lauren Isley, the most eloquent biologist writer the world has ever known, born in Nebraska, said, one does not meet oneself until one has seen one's reflection in an eye other than human. That's always been about who we are. It's only now with modernity and what Henry Miller called the air-conditioned nightmare that we think machines are more interesting. Jane Addams once said, the Nobel Prize winner about 70 years ago, society cares more for the products it manufactures than for the immemorial ability to affirm the charm of existence. That's a big mistake. Life is much more interesting than anything inanimate, whether it's money, iPhones, or what we watch on television. That's a recent thing in the history of the world. A 100-foot-long rope is who we are as people. The smear on the last quarter inch of that 100-foot-long rope is the cybernetic computer revolution. So all of a sudden we're flummoxed, mesmerized, and transfixed by machines. And instead of looking at the organic world and understanding what the elders in Africa, the Amazon, the Arctic, anywhere in New Guinea, Tibet have to tell us, we're taken by digital cocaine. That's a big mistake.
A very big mistake. Now, your son is the name of the piece, and he's an amazing little boy that's in front of you right now. Do you have anything to say, sweetheart? No? Well...
What you said at the Annenberg, is that it?
Do not do the elephants what you don't want them to do to you.
All right, this is Princess Angelique Monét, and we're here at an amazing film screening at the MoMa Museum.